Charlie Kirk got shot at college, and he is no longer with us, with the angels. Bless up to the known Christian Charlie Kirk. If you don't know who Charlie Kirk was, he was a far right-wing political commentator known mostly for his series of debates with college kids on campuses. He would go around saying, "Debate me. I'm right about stuff." And then he would debate college kids. Here are some of the things Charlie Kirk had to say. This is the type of guy we're talking about, just in case anyone doesn't have a sort of a knowledge of Charlie Kirk, you know? It's not always easy to keep all these guys in your mind, so it's important to know just before we get into this. R.I.P., of course. So this is Charlie Kirk right here. This is a discussion about gun violence.
Now, we must also be real. We must be honest with the population. Having an armed citizenry comes with a price, and that is part of liberty.
True.
Driving comes with a price. 50,000 people die on the road every year.
Mm-hmm. So we regulate it, right? To make sure it's as safe as it can possibly be. Though, of course, driving a car has a utility that the discussion about guns doesn't also include, right? You know, you don't need a gun to take your kids to school, for instance. Although Republicans certainly think so.
That's a price. You get rid of driving, you'd have 50,000 less auto fatalities.
Fewer.
But we have decided that the benefit of driving, speed, accessibility, mobility, having products, services, is worth the cost of 50,000 people dying on the road.
Counterpoint, and this is just maybe my, I'm just so extreme for saying this, but counterpoint. What if we had the same amount of people moving, maybe even more, for cheaper and with less congestion and impact on the infrastructure by having mass transit available, high-speed rail, for instance, for a lot of the people moving that you're talking about? We could have that. I'm just saying. It's just something to consider. But that is okay. This is just alternatives to automobiles. Not really the point of the discussion. This is just him saying, well, if cars are good, then maybe guns can be good.
So we need to be very clear that you're not going to get gun deaths to zero. It will not happen.
True.
You can significantly reduce them
through
having more fathers in the home, by having more armed guards in front of schools.
Okay. He had presumably a father, maybe even two at home. Who's to know? Who's to say? He seems to be an upstanding citizen, maybe maximal fathers at home. And also had armed guards all around him. He had the armed security that he privately hires. He collaborated with the local government and the university, and this still happened. That's okay, though. I mean, he's entitled to his opinion. He doesn't deserve to die for that, that's certain. It's just as interesting that he is willing to live in a society that allows for a certain amount of demise through firearms, and it's a little. I think I'm speaking for everyone, where there's a palpable kind of irony to the poetry of the end of this, you know. So here's another opinion he has, just to put into context the man that Charlie Kirk was, a father of two. Right. So obviously we've seen the barbarism of this lack of health care meted out on ladies all over the South, especially in all the red states where they've banned any sort of abortion access. People have been dying. They've been keeping corpses alive to keep children in, like, necrophizing wombs, like literally zombie babies. All of course, didn't last the term. Anyway, so the butchery of his right-wing, super Christian nationalism, anti-science approach, all feels over reals. But let's go on. I want to hear his whole argument. This is the marketplace of ideas. I still don't think he should be shot for this, for the record.
Okay.
Just for any sensitive things. Sometimes they impact you directly, right? So it's not improbable for him to have to go through this painful process of realizing the sexual violation of someone close to him. Like, God forbid, but like it could happen. It's totally valid to ask this question because this is a thing that happens and it's part of the conversation. So this is a guy who, a father of two, would want his raped children to be forced to have children. And then, of course, lastly, we have the response that I think many people have, especially if you saw the footage, which is very graphic, and I'm not going to show it. I mean, the guy gets hit in the neck, and it's not good to get shot in the neck. For me, I'm like, you have a response to it. A lot of people on the right are calling for empathy right now. But Charlie Kirk didn't, to his credit.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that
it does a lot of damage. But
So one more time, just in case you didn't hear it, I just want to make sure we're clear on Charlie's stance on empathy.
I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term that it does a lot of damage. But
He doesn't want empathy, so that's good. Lastly, just in case anyone was like, well, I mean, the horrible thing that happened, think about the kids that had to witness this. Trump ally Charlie Kirk suggests children should watch public executions. He said that last February. Charlie Kirk. He thinks that they should watch public executions so that they can understand through lethal injection, capital punishment, stuff like that. Thinks that children should be forced to watch that. Well, he walked the goddamn walk, you must say.
I've been in touch with President Trump, with FBI Director Kash Patel.
I'm sure Kash Patel was a bunch of fucking help. He's probably like, I got the demon squad on it right now. We're looking at the ley lines as we speak. No one will get through the shadow barrier. I'm sure he's doing great. Kash Patel, wide-eyed as fuck, like a fucking lemur. Rolling perception checks, with advantage, of course. I don't feel like at all the right wing is using this as an opportunity. Pump their numbers up, get views and clicks on things, sell products, or ratchet up tensions between political factions. Not at all are they using this as an opportunity. So that's good. They're all being reasonable.
It's a tragic day for our nation. Mm-hmm. And I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
Probably. I'd say so. He's a political advocate. Just a YouTube guy, really. But he was definitely a political advocate. And sort of in the background of a lot of the Trump administration's policy decisions.
We are celebrating 250 years of the founding of this great nation.
The rich history of colonizing this place, displacing the locals, fighting off other nations and shedding blood with like the Spanish and French, and then asking and petitioning the British government to protect us from those threats, using that military might to help push them away. And then when Britain was like, okay, well now we got to raise some taxes because we helped you out as our colonies, they were like, no. And then they used the weakened state of the Brits to undercut them, which I think is slick, and I don't care. Fuck the British Empire, but also like hypocritical situation. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. The rich history of this country has always been violent, and so I agree that this is a continuation of the tradition of the 250 years of America. It is sad. I wish it didn't happen. I wish guys like Charlie Kirk never had to exist in the first place. Like this kind of political firebrand shit. But instead instead of living in a place which, you know, has a nice time and we argue about, you know, how thick sidewalks are going to be and where the new park is going to go. We have to have guys that are out here saying that other human beings don't deserve rights and that we should be legally allowed to kill people for fishing in certain waters and like crossing certain borders because of the color of their skin. So, you know, this is an inevitability, I think, of the kind of rhetoric that's been spewed by pretty much the establishment, like the American machine since I've known of it. Like I grew up in the Bush era. I mean, this has just been a military machine. Like the 90s had race riots. The 2000s had just, you know, 9/11 and the fallout of all of that. I mean, then we had economic collapse due to all of that shit, and that's what kind of, like, we just been in a holding pattern of this shit my whole life. I truly believe that the right wing takes for granted America's greatness or something like that. They just think that we can say it's great, and it'll serve the function of a great place without putting in any of the work. And it's ironic for the bootstraps guys.
That founding document, the Declaration of Independence, that this great experiment on which we embarked together 250 years ago.
We didn't embark together 250 years ago. To correct the record, white landowning men embarked on this and took everyone else along with them, whether they wanted to or not. There's a reason the Continental Congress was like private. It wasn't just to hide themselves from the British, which was definitely part of it. It was to hide themselves from people who just didn't want war, and many of them died for this. It wasn't fucking Thomas Jefferson or George or Ben Franklin that died for it. George Washington at least put his ass on the line.
That we are endowed,
although he was a freak and a slaver,
by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. Mm-hmm. The first one of those is life.
That's fascinating. Do Palestinians have this same right? I'm just asking.
And today, a life was taken
by a gun. A gun that people like me have been saying, and many others, have been saying, maybe we should regulate these things. They're pretty easy to kill people with. Like, have you ever tried to shoot a gun, chat? I grew up shooting guns. Big country boy. Grew up shooting guns. Easy to shoot. They let you when you're a child. They let you shoot animals with it when you're a child. You get a hunting license, you can go kill stuff legally. Gun safety was a very big thing in my house. Safety on, don't point it at anybody, stuff like that. One time, illegally, my dad, Republican, had a banana clip. He locked it into this fucking thing, and he just gave it to me, and he's like, just shoot it. I was like, bah, 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 bah. I emptied a banana clip into a fucking sand hill or something with targets on it. Do you know how, I was a child. I was like 12. Do you know how easy it would be for an adult with training to kill somebody with one of these? Maybe, just maybe, we should regulate these things. If regulation wouldn't have saved Charlie Kirk, I'm, as he said, fine with understanding that there's going to be a toll to have these weapons. But I do think it would be prudent. I think it would be pretty prudent to maybe make sure that the proliferation of these weapons can't just be so willy-nilly. The cat's out of the fucking bag on it, though. I mean, it's just out. I'm not for restricting all guns. I'm for having guns. I think there's utility to having some guns. I'm not talking about taking my guns. Like, just think about regulation, because this guy died on a campus that allows open carry. Okay?
A husband and a dad to 2 young children.
So many people are dads to young children. This is the guy we just saw. He said he would allow his daughter to have a rape baby. So I'm not going to, I don't know if is that a quality that we get to fucking say he is? Is that a thing that we're just like, oh, here it is? That's all I'm hearing on CNN, too, is he was a father. Okay. So if he was single, it would have been fine. We wouldn't have talked about anything. You'd just been like, well, he's a guy. He's just a guy. It's not a joke. The wife difference, socially, for these kinds of people, they really do genuinely think that this is like, holy shit, he got a wife? That is tough. That's hard to do. I mean, I don't think Charlie Kirk should have been shot for his beliefs or whatever. I do think that it happened because of the way that he espouses them. By the way, this is the 47th school shooting in America this year? Or was it the 48th? And then there was another one literally on the same day. A fascinating point that a lot of people have been bringing up. The entire right wing is going to go absolutely apeshit over the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and they are. But just remember how none of them gave a shit about the Democratic lawmaker in Minnesota being assassinated just a couple months ago. Trump basically ignored it. It was her partner, and her dog in their home. This is Ben Gvir. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu tweeted earlier. They're all huge fans of Charlie Kirk. Quick question. Why are a bunch of high-level Israeli government officials using Charlie Kirk's assassination to push Islamophobia and pro-Israel sentiment if they know who the killer is? They don't know who the killer is, by the way. Great. This guy's literally committing genocide right now. So, I mean, here are the right-wing pundits talking about it. Or I guess in this case, Nancy Mace.
I'm going to say this. Democrats own what happened today.
Really? I feel like Republican gun laws, or lacks of them, are what own it in Utah and open carry place. These have only happened in red places, right?
I am devastated. My kids have
I feel like it slanders, yeah.
Called panicking. They probably, all the kids of every conservative in the country called panicking. Just because you speak your mind on an issue doesn't mean you get shot.
I agree, but this happened to kids. I just feel like the outrage only hits home for them when it's one of their own. And we knew this was going to happen at some point. At some point, the violence in this country was going to reach the people in charge, and Charlie Kirk's pretty close to it on the close to the inner circle, friends with Trump. You can't deny it that they've been ignorant of all the other gun violence that's happened, including the shooting today at a school down the road.
By that logic, do Republicans own the shooting of the 2 Democratic lawmakers in Minnesota?
Yeah, Nance.
Political.
Isn't this on both sides?
Are you kidding me?
No, of course not. I'm not. Why would I? I'm Nancy Mace. Why would I be? How could you get out of here?
We don't know what condition Charlie Kirk is in right now. Some raging leftist lunatic.
Why are you saying a leftist lunatic? We do not know anything about this shooter. I would not be surprised whatsoever to find another right-wing disaffected crazy person with military background. Could have been about a myriad of things. He'd been splitting with Trump on some stuff lately. He's got some stuff with Israel going on that could lead to some shit. He said some crazy shit about a lot of people before. To say it's the leftists, insane.
put a bullet through his neck, and you want to talk about Republicans right now? No.
No, I'm asking
not
you.
at all.
You said that.
You want to talk about Republicans when I'm one of them, and that's would that? But he was at an explicitly political place, doing his explicitly political activity, and you want to talk about the rhetoric?
No,
Democrats
this
have donated
is
to-
on.
but
The
I'm asking-
Democrats own this.
The Democrats own this in Utah, in a red state, in a red college. 2 suspects have been taken into custody, and neither of them have been confirmed to be the shooter, and both of them are like off the hook for it, essentially.
But isn't there a
Democrats own
problem
this.
So far, as of right now.
with political violence across the spectrum?
Yeah, we're talking
There are-
about Charlie Kirk right now. That's the subject of this that we're talking about right now.
So she wants to politicize this right now? That's crazy. So usually when shootings happen, they're not politicized, but this one is politicized because he was political, I guess. Anyway, violence has no place in American politics. Here's her signing a bomb. We're signing bombs. Of course, Asmongold. Anyone surprised at what happened to Charlie Kirk hasn't been paying attention? Go anywhere, Reddit, Twitter, etc. You'll find thousands of unhinged direct calls to violence over politics. Until it's addressed for what it is, things like this will continue to happen. You should see the Nazis right now on Twitter. They're going crazy. They're telling everyone they're going to die. Like, we're going to get you. The Fox News pundits are saying, we're going to kill and we're going to kill everybody. Meanwhile, Zach is, of course, advocated for eugenics. All right, here's some reasonable people reacting to it with real brains. Here's Zoran talking about it today at an event he was at already while it happened.
It is a real honor to be in a room so full of love and solidarity. And I have much of those very feelings and emotions and commitments that I want to share with all of you. But before I begin, I do want to take a moment to address the horrific political assassination that just occurred today in Utah. Charlie Kirk is dead, yet another victim of gun violence in a nation where what should be a rarity has turned into a plague.
Staying on message, and also he's right. It is. It's the guns, man. It's the only place it fucking happens.
It cannot be a question of political agreement or alignment that allows us to mourn. It must be the shared notion of humanity that binds us all. And that humanity, it reminds us that this news is not just that of the murder of a prominent political figure, but also the news of a wife who grieves her husband, of a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old who will grow up without a father.
That's the only point of empathy I really have in this, because Charlie didn't want any. I do feel bad for his family, but like to the same degree, or to a lesser degree than I feel sad about like the people who lose children to the gun violence that he's advocated for. To be honest, I mean, I cannot urge myself to feel bad for a guy who advocated for the world he lived in. You know, this is the place he wanted to live and the way he wanted to live it. The gun laws are exactly how the Republicans want them right now. This is exactly the place they want to live with exactly as much gun violence as they want to allow. We've been saying this for a long time.
And the fact that there are families feeling that same anguish right now in Colorado as they wait for their children, also shot at a school, to emerge from surgery.
Yep.
Is the same anguish that too many across our city and our nation reckon with in silence every day as we contend with an epidemic of suffering.
Because it's no different. He just has some celebrity. He has some followers on the internet. So I'm supposed to feel worse for him than I feel for the kids today. Today that happened. Sorry.
We can and we must do more to challenge a status quo that has allowed this pain to become routine, that has allowed the question of which mass shooting to respond to the news of one that is shared.
Facts.
And it is incumbent upon all of us to repair the tears in our shared civic fabric and to make our nation one that is worthy of its greatest ideals.
And the only way you get there is by taking care of the people who live here and making sure their material needs are met. And that includes their civic fucking rights. Like, you can't be taking away trans people's rights. You can't be running the Gestapo after brown folks.
I mean, I think what has just transpired is tremendously disturbing. It is the latest evolution and instance
Stop advocating. Start reporting. Who is bitching off camera?
of political violence in the United States, and it must end.
You guys are doing political violence. Who the fuck is this bozo on the off camera?
Congresswoman, what message do you have to your fellow lawmakers regarding the
Who the fuck is this idiot?
political environment? What message do you have to your fellow lawmakers regarding the political environment and the rhetoric that has been put out in the media?
You know, beyond rhetoric, we need to talk about action, and we need to talk about, yes, there are words, but most importantly, we are in a job of leadership. We are in a job of action. We are in a role and a position where the American people are looking to us to do something about this. And every single day, people are dying due to gun violence in America, and every single day there are people in this building that continue to vote against doing anything.
Exactly. This is just obvious, right? Charlie Kirk, literal, has an ear to the president. There is nothing right now that these people would have changed about the gun laws. This is how they want it, and it still happened. No amount of private security, no amount of good guys with guns can stop it, because it's too easy to shoot, to hurl a piece of metal through someone's frail human form. It's very simple to do. They make it real easy. We've become efficient at making killing machines. Why can't gun companies profit in another different way? Why do we even care if they profit? Because we are lobbied to. Well, Congress are.
They vote against universal background checks. They continue to support legislation and also remove any way to block the mentally ill, to block extremists, to block people with histories and records of domestic violence from getting guns in their hands.
Yep.
So are we going to do something about this or not?
No, what they're going to do is threaten the shooter with death or something, as if they ever care. Here's Elizabeth Warren. I'm not always 100% down with what Liz has got going on, but I do like her most of the time.
Oh, please. Right. Why don't you start with the President of the United States? Right? And every ugly meme he has posted and every ugly word.
True. He sets the tone. The political violence that Donald Trump has allowed, January 6th is a great example. These types of things from the top down, they don't respect law and order. Why would anyone else below that? They're destabilizing the fabric of the nation, as they call it. The destabilizing force is, of course, the government itself right now. I thought this was an interesting take. This is the guy, it's Luke. He likes to yell at the MAGA guys.
So is it the guns yet? Are we ready to be done with this yet? Is Republican Senator Mike Lee gonna make jokes about this, like he did when Melissa Hortman and her family were murdered in their fucking home?
Probably not.
Is J.D. Vance going to call this a fact of life and Donald Trump going to tell us we just need to move on, like they do when little innocent children have their lives stolen from them while they're in fucking school? Because I would bet my left fucking kidney that is not what's going to happen, and that the Republican response to this will not be clamoring for gun control. So here's what I have to say on the matter. Gun violence is indiscriminate, and you know what else it is? It's fucking preventable.
In the only country that this is a problem, you'll have dumbasses saying that it can't change. So he's surrounded by private security. He's surrounded by the local police, the security on the campus, and he still got clipped. So what should have Charlie Kirk done? Is there just nothing to be done? He was always going to die? Give me an example how it's preventable. Not allowing people to buy weapons of war that can shoot 200 yards accurately into the necks of speakers. That could be one. We could prevent the sale of the weapon in the first place. How are you going to get rid of the guns that people have? You could do buyback programs, but mostly what you have to do is stop selling them and just wait for this problem to solve itself over time as you demilitarize your populace a little bit. So I want you to answer my question. What could Charlie have done here to prevent it? Or are you just saying that Charlie Kirk was just going to always get shot here? Because he had all of the good guys with guns on his side. Security should have secured the building. Oh, okay. So were already there. More different security, of course. For every man, there must be 50 security guards. Utah is an open carry state, and that is an open carry campus. Do you care about that? Your solution to this is, well, he was just going to get his head blown off no matter fucking what. Cool, man.
Other civilized country on the face of the fucking planet has done? Because would it shock you to know that in the midst of all this shit with Charlie Kirk in Utah, where, by the way, it's perfectly legal for an 18-year-old to concealed carry a firearm on a public university campus.
True.
Can't see any issue with that. Anyway, would it shock you to know that in Colorado...
I've always known 18-year-old college kids to be the most emotionally stable. I think young people should have more guns. That's obviously the case. Go NRA, woo-woo.
There was another shooting that left 3 students in critical fucking condition. Like 2 weeks ago, there were children who had their lives stolen while they were praying. It's the fucking guns!
Has been. What does it say about us that the news of a conservative political activist getting assassinated may need to compete for coverage with yet another school shooting? It's not competing with coverage. The school shooting has been dwarfed by this because these kids aren't famous. These kids aren't famous. Evergreen High School doesn't have the clout. Here's a kid from there, just to get their perspective, since no one's covering them. And I mean, frankly, we're all here because Charlie Kirk died anyway. I mean, the real problem is that due to the policies that people like Charlie Kirk and the right wing have espoused, this is the people getting shot at schools, kids getting shot at schools, is milquetoast and normal.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel real because like this never happened to me before, and like I only moved here like a few months ago, and I didn't like think this would happen like so soon.
You hear how he talks about it? I didn't think it would happen so soon. Like he felt like it was inevitable. Like, don't you feel like this is a failure for the kids, guys? It's not our fucking fault, of course. We've been advocating for sensibility for a long time. This is the situation they want their kids to grow up in. It's no wonder that the fucking birth rate is dropping. People don't want their kids to get fucking shot, so they don't have them at all. People don't want their kids to die from preventable health diseases, so they don't have them at all. People can't afford to have houses. They don't have kids at all. Like, get real, man. We have the resources to handle all of these problems. All of them.
Like, it shouldn't be a thing that happens, like, nowadays in our society. It just isn't right.
So, ultimately, what will come of this? More fascism, of course. Here's the fucking commander-in-chief, personal friend to Charlie Kirk, and definitely not hiding his hand or dying.
To my great fellow Americans, I am filled with grief and anger at the heinous assassination of Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight, all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror.
Sorry, I got taken out of it when he said horror. I agree, shocked and horror.
Charlie was a patriot who devoted his life to the cause of open debate and the country that he loved so much.
This is what they keep trying to frame it as, is he was down for open debate with kids at school. Seems strange. They don't play clips of Charlie Kirk. Not of him speaking. None of the networks are doing that. Because when he speaks, the audience is going to start to be like, well, should I care that much?
The United States of America. He fought for liberty, democracy, justice, and the American people. He's a martyr for truth and freedom, and there's never been anyone who was so respected by youth. Charlie was also a man of deep, deep faith.
I mean, he got to meet God at least. Good for him.
And we take comfort in the knowledge that he is now at peace with God in heaven.
Yeah, he is.
Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate. His mission was to bring young people into the political process, which he did better than anybody ever. On campuses nationwide, he championed his ideas with courage, logic, humor, and grace.
Everyone who has ever watched this says this is AI. It does look weird, but are you sure? He would do an AI video for Charlie? You don't think Donald Trump would make a video for Charlie?
It's a long past time for all Americans and the media to confront the fact that violence and murder are the tragic consequence of demonizing those with whom you disagree day after day, year after year, in the most hateful and despicable way possible.
Why is Donald Trump dunking on himself right now? Why is he saying, is he apologizing for his role in this? That's nice. It's nice to see Donald change for the better, finally. He's looking inward and he's saying, I'm the problem. My ramping up of the rhetoric has been the problem the whole time, of course. Wait, that's not what he's saying? This isn't his come to Jesus moment?
For years, those on the radical left have...
What is he saying the radical left for? We don't know who the fuck the shooter is. So anyway, they're going to use this as like some kind of like mini Reichstag fire, I guess, which is silly because no one really knows who the fuck this guy is outside of the internet people.
Compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals.
Say what you want about Charlie Kirk, but he was no Nazi. But there was some crossover worth considering with the rhetoric that could lead people, unwisely of course, to think that maybe he was saying some things that could be construed as that. I don't know. I think he walked a little close to the sun.
This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today.
I like that his hair looks messy. He looks a little hunched. Chat's saying this is AI. I don't think so.
And it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it, as well as those who go after our judges, law enforcement officials, and everyone else who brings order to our country.
Okay. I mean, there's already maximal fines and penalties for all of the stuff he's talking about. Like, anyone who's doing mass shooting events or whatever, or public executions like this, I mean, they're not, like, they don't care about their well-being necessarily. This is what I'm talking about. Like, the right wing just does not have a proactive approach. They have a reactionary approach. They're like, we're going to get you. And I don't feel like the guy cares. They've accounted for the possibility. You know what I mean? Like, no one does this either of fully sound mind or without knowing and understanding that the extent, especially for something like this, that the extent of the law will be used most likely to try to execute them in the field and maybe try to drag them away. But, like, I just don't think it's a deterrent. I don't think you can help how people feel and get fed up or whatever, and then also allow them to have military weapons and expect it not to ever touch the establishment. You know what I mean? Like, of course it's going to. And it has. It hit Democrats the other day. Like, 2 months ago? Not even? Chat's saying that there's a glitch coming up here. This is earlier. Let me look.
College campus in Utah. Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot.
Whoa.
Loved him are united in shock and horror. Charlie was a patriot.
Yeah, that is weird. All right, tinfoil hat. This is pre-recorded. Tinfoil hat, pre-recorded.
Charlie was a patriot. Charlie was a patriot.
God, that's weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. Why is it like this? I'm trying it because I spliced things together before, like when you're trying, like you have audio and it's like maybe he went patriot or something and they tried to speed it up, but that's not what it looks like.
I was a patriot.
Dude, his alignment changes and it's weird. He's like leaning and maybe they were like, hey man, you're leaning. You think it has like an AI smoothing filter on it and it's a weird edit on it so it makes it look even weirder? That makes some sense.
From the attack on my life.
Dude, it happened again. Whoa, wait. Look at it. Look. It happened again. Is it just happening with his head moving? What is that?
An assassin tried to silence him with a bullet, but he failed because together we will ensure that his voice, his message, and his legacy will live on for countless generations to come.
I do think there's probably an AI filter of some kind going on with that edit because it looked weird. Or maybe they edited it with AI or something and then just put like a smooth over it to try to... And it just was fucky. I don't know.
Today, because of this heinous act...
So he said that the bullet didn't silence Charlie Kirk, but I don't know. It's not like it's the most important thing ever, but it's like if this was your basketball roster before the playoffs, you'd hate to lose him, you know? He's an important player in the Republican campaign, so, you know, it's they're going to feel it. They're going to feel his loss, his vacuum there, and there's not other people taking up the mantle there at all. So he was a unique individual, that's for sure. He had a unique skill set.
Charlie's voice has become bigger and grander than ever before, and it's not even close. May God...
He loves to say that kind of shit. He's the best. And like everyone's like, well,
God bless his memory. May God watch over his family.
Oof. May God watch over his family. Preferably better than he watched over Charlie. Yeah, at some point we're going to be like, wait, remember Charlie Kirk? That shit was crazy.
And may God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
God's blessings on America. I suppose if you agree that God allows things to happen for his plan and whatever, then this was simply part of his plan. And God just needed another angel, you know? Charlie kept his neck out for the common man. Yeah. I think they're going to try to do like laws to try not to criticize people, specifically the president and right-wingers. Like you won't... I think they'll ban language like you can't call people Nazis or something like that. Like it's inciting violence or whatever. They love restricting speech. They do. Here's something interesting right at the end of this, just because it kind of happened recently. Matthew Dowd got fired for saying this about Charlie Kirk.
But following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. But following up what was just...
He got fired for that? What the heck? Okay. Free speech is dead. And Charlie Kirk took it with him. So Charlie Kirk's legacy will be a stain on free speech, I guess. Anyway, R.I.P. to Charlie Kirk. I'm sure that he is with the angels. Floating around, I don't know what the Christians believe. He's got little wings on. He's a little cherub body. And he's still got his normal head size. He's looking up at all of us right now. Screaming up at us. It's what he would have wanted. He got to meet God. Will anything change for the better because of this? No, of course not. We will lose more rights. We'll lose more rights. We'll slide further towards fascism. And then someday this will resolve itself, of course. We'll simply keep throwing the same rhetoric towards the gun issue, and I'm sure it'll just handle it. We'll crack down on it.